I'm Sari Kimbell, and I've done just about everything in the food industry. I have helped hundreds of packaged food business entrepreneurs, and now I want to help you make your delicious dream a reality. Whether you want to be successful at farmers markets, online, or wholesale onto store shelves, food business success is your secret ingredient. I will show you how to avoid an expensive hobby and instead run a profitable food business. Now let's jump in. Welcome back to the podcast. Oh my gosh, you guys. Today is the day. I am so excited for the airing of this podcast. This has been a couple months in the making. Just took a while to get everybody's schedule to line up. And here we are. I am talking with 3 food business success businesses, 4 amazing women. And we're going to hear from Yvonne with LeafBerri, and then with Tania and Leonor of Miami Food Company, and finally Sara with SaraBell Soups. And you'll notice that while I'm doing my best to be a great interviewer, we are all in on the conversation at times. And so I know it can get a little tricky to distinguish who's talking, but just roll with it. We're having a great time. Because one of the things that actually came from this, which was so cool, I didn't even expect it, was how much these women, they'd never met before, and how much they enjoyed meeting each other and starting to create community, and we all left as great friends. Be sure to go check out Instagram for some photos of all of us on Zoom having a great Saturday morning conversation. So without further ado, let's jump in. I'm going to start with you, Yvonne.
Sure.
And welcome. First of all, thank you so much for giving your time. I'll just read your brief bio, and then I want to jump into your story a little bit more.
Sure.
So, Yvonne, you are the founder and CEO, yes, you are, and a badass, of LeafBerri Specialty Tea. You are in Texas. And LeafBerri is a tea company that exclusively markets teas grown in Kenya. And her niche is specialty in the orthodox purple tea. It's a new tea variety currently grown in Kenya. Purple tea has the highest antioxidants and lower caffeine than green teas. And then you're also doing some other teas, black and yellow. But I've tried the tea and it's amazing and it's gorgeous as well. But welcome, Yvonne. And why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about your story and how you got started?
So I started LeafBerri. I'm originally from Kenya, and we've grown around tea. I've been around tea all my life because we grow it. It's a major cash crop back home. It's actually the major subsistence that really holds the Kenyan economy. And so a few years ago, I was also in a place crossroads as I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do other than what I currently do as a healthcare professional. And I had gone home to visit my parents. My parents are still in Kenya. And so they were talking about this new tea leaf that the government was promoting and having them grow. It's that had been created, or not really created, but is a hybrid of different tea plants, and they came up with this new tea variety called the purple leaf tea. It's in the same family as your green teas. It's a Camellia sinensis, but it's a purple leaf. It has the purple leaf, and the purple leaf comes from the antioxidants you find in your superfoods, your beets and berries. That's what manifests on the leaf and gives it that very deep, rich purple leaf pigmentation. So I was, of course, very intrigued because I was thinking of doing something. I enjoy tea. I've always drunk tea. Like I said, we drink tea any time of the day, whether it's hot, cold, you always drunk and tea, preferably, and most commonly was black tea because that's what we really knew. So when I came across this opportunity, I said, this might be something interesting to look into. So when I came back to the States, I just started doing my little R&D to find out more about purple tea, see what's out there. And I found nobody had purple tea. There was really no purple tea. And I thought,
I've never heard of it before.
An opportunity to to build on and figure out how I can become somebody who really serves as a platform to promote teas, because Kenya is the largest exporter of tea in Africa and the third in the world. Most people don't know that.
I had
So whenever
no
you're
idea.
drinking your Twinings, you're probably drinking Kenyan tea. You're drinking, especially a lot of the teas are exported to Europe, Australia, the Middle East. We have a little going into Canada and also very little coming into Americas. But most of the tea grown is sent to Europe. So most of the tea that is drunk in Europe is Kenyan tea. But we really don't we've never really had a platform where we bring in the tea. So I just decided, let me try this. This looks interesting. I love tea. And when I drank it, and also as I began to really read more about it and understand the health benefits of the tea, here's a tea that is packed with antioxidants, the antioxidants you find in superfoods. People are really becoming more health conscious. I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to really just start promoting this purple leaf tea and really promote Kenyan tea, because I just felt that we didn't have a platform that was really promoting Kenyan tea. And our teas in Kenya, because of the area it's grown, very high altitudes, rich volcanic soils, the Kenyan teas have a very unique taste. A lot of people compare them to Ceylon teas. They have that very robust, bright taste or finish. And so I thought, instead of us just sitting back and not being able to be in a place where we're drinking tea, because anytime I knew someone was going home, I was always rushing, hey, bring me tea, because I really enjoyed it compared to a lot of the teas I would find here. So really, that was what really got me started. And especially when I know how hard my parents work, because, teas are a major sustenance. My parents are tea farmers. It was just really an opportunity to really just promote Kenyan tea, and especially with the niche in purple tea being a new tea variety that's really not known. So that was really the essence of starting LeafBerri Purple Tea. Yeah.
I know. Everybody's going to want to try some of your tea.
So right now, yes, I have a website where I'm promoting the teas, and we're selling it nationwide.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, the progression of the questions coming, but yeah, we are looking to start even doing wholesale down the road.
So you're not an entrepreneur by trade. You have a full-time job.
Yeah.
You're a full-time mom as well.
Yes, to 4 girls.
And then, but you just got the entrepreneur bug, and you decided to come home and figure this out. And you have the added challenge of now you need to import a product.
Yes, yes.
But how did you start the business? Where did you start? And then we'll talk about where you want to go with it.
So when of course I came back, I did a lot of, like I said, I did a lot of research. I probably spent about 9 months just reading up on trying to understand how to do a business, because I had no clue. I was zero. I'm a healthcare professional. That's, I've always been employed, and suddenly, there's this opportunity that's before me, and I'm thinking, okay, I just want to really understand what it's all about. So, I started visiting farmers markets because I was trying to figure out where would I even start. So, I started realizing as I started doing research, actually what really prompted me to start was in my hospital, every year they have a vendor fair. And so I didn't know how to start, and I just decided to go ask them, if I was to bring tea, how would that happen? She said, oh, yeah, come in, you're one of our employees. We have a vendor fair, just pay this amount for the table because it's going to go to charity, and just get started. And so I think I found out 3 weeks before it started, and we were still trying to figure out with my husband, because we were working with my husband, how to do this. And, when the opportunity came, I said, okay, this is it. We're just jumping in, and we'll start off with that first craft fair. It was really a craft fair. And the response was unbelievable. I mean, I sold out on the tea, and I remember I called my husband and I said, I think we're onto something. This is awesome, And so that first experience saying, okay, I'm going to start with just, became a vendor fair, really propelled me to really now just start getting very open to figuring out, okay, how else can I do this? And that's when I started hearing more about. I remember saying, "Oh, yeah, I used to see farmers markets. Let me find out what farmers markets are. What does it take to join a farmers market?" So, got back to doing my research and figured, applied to some of the local farmers markets, finding out what the requirements were, because of course I was starting off as a cottage industry, and understanding what that meant, and that's where we just started. There was a farmers market just literally 3 minutes from my house, and I just called. They say they had space because they didn't have a tea vendor. And they were like, you're more than welcome to come. Just make sure you have, your tent and your weights and everything else. And started off with a little table and just started selling the tea, took it there and just started. It was just one of those things where I was like, let me just start and see how it went. And that's what I've been doing. Is I mainly sell at the farmers markets. And of course, as I got to meet more people at the farmers markets, vendors, we started exchanging ideas. Oh, I sell here. I sell at this craft fair. There's a festival coming up. Check it out. And before long, just started learning how to form those contacts with different vendor events and know where the different farmers markets, where I could sign up in different companies that had farmers market locations and just start selling the tea. And so that's what I've been doing since then.
I love it that you just kind of jumped in a little before you probably felt ready.
No, and I didn't even know where this was going to go. I didn't know. I think there was the advantage of the naivety of going in without really knowing what to expect, and then start understanding the hurdles that come as I started. Because I think if I had kind of known, if I'd maybe just let's say everything has to fall into place, I have to make sure I have my perfect labels, my perfect packaging, everything has to be perfect. I probably would never have started. I just, as I say, when I found out about, and so interesting is I've learned so much from other vendors. They're the ones who tell me, oh, call this company for packaging, call this company for labeling, because I was making my labels at home. It was.
You were doing the printer. I think the connections with the farmers market vendors and that community, which is what I want to form here too, and success. But having a community is so important. People helping each other, and I think everybody really wants to help each other for the most part. So.
I've formed some great contacts, and that has been really. I've learned so much from a lot of the vendors, because there'll be those who've been doing it for years. That's what they love to do. That's where they want to get up to. They just do. So they know all the nuances. They know all the little things here you can do, go to this market, go to that market, Wednesday market here is really good. Saturday markets are really good here. So you just start learning, and, even through there, I found the kombucha company that's buying tea from me to make their kombucha.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about, so you found me, you started some online too.
Yes.
We started doing direct to consumer in the farmers market. And then it was like, okay, I've proven the concept. I feel good about going to the next step. So it looks like, you told me you found me through Instagram and YouTube. We got on a call, and I remember you wanted to send me the tea first and try it.
Exactly.
Right. I always say, like, you better have a great product, otherwise you shouldn't even be talking.
That's true. Yeah, always.
But why did you feel like you needed to join Business Success?
So as I started seeing the viability of the business, and recognizing that I could really take this to another level, where I'm transitioning from cottage to where I'm moving to a retail section, I recognized there was a lot of deficiencies that I had, trying to understand how to approach buyers and how understand the mechanics of running a business from a retail standpoint. Like I said, I was listening to, I found you, I think you were sponsored and you happened to come on my page, and I was like, oh, as I listened to you and I got in and I saw what you were doing, I was like, I recognized I was getting only up to a certain point, but if I needed to move forward, I needed to work with someone with the expertise to help propel me to the next step. help me understand what are the things I need to think about, because without I wouldn't know, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what that space would look like. And I recognized that was a major deficiency that would prevent me from moving forward, is I needed somebody who had the expertise and the knowledge to show me, or to just really guide me or give me ideas on, okay, this is what you can do moving on from here.
Right.
And right now my biggest hurdle has been waiting for my shipment so I could take it to the next level. Like I said, every step you learn something new. I ordered the tea, and then I found out there was all these requirements that I have to do. So my tea back in Kenya, we're now going into our third month, and I can't do anything until I get my FDA requirements all in place. So I'm hoping in the next week or two, I will get my clearance to allow me to propel my shipping forward, because without that part, and then also I had to find a co-packer or co-manufacturer who was willing to accept the tea and package it and blend and package it for me, because that was also another very, very big hurdle that I had to first get squared away before I could even think about moving to the next level, because I understood for me to move to a retail, and retail being even just the small retail stores and retail boutiques, I have to be in the retail setting. I have to be able to make sure that the tea is being prepared in a co-manufacturing facility.
Yeah, so important that you're getting that legal piece. And I know when we started, we got on calls about your packaging, because you're getting pre-printed packaging done.
Yes,
moving away from the Avery labels.
The next 2 weeks or so, they took my packaging should be coming in. So, so that's where I am right now. It's kind of, I feel like I'm in limbo, but I'm not in limbo, because until the tea starts its journey here, I can only stick with cottage industry, which is good anyway. I think this has been a good time to allow me to really just also evaluate a lot of things from business and also personal standpoint. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did your packaging, made sure it's FDA compliant, as well as the marketing,
The marketing, yes. And pricing, which was a big deal.
Talked a lot about pricing.
That was a big factor. And that's where I was so glad I had met you when I did, because when it came to meeting with a co-manufacturer and talk about numbers, I remembered I was actually in Mexico, and I called you and I said, we need to figure this out. I was on vacation, and the co-manufacturer is like, I want to know your numbers. And I remember I called Sari. I said, okay, Sari, I'm on vacation, but I've got to get this going. And I called her from Mexico, and we had we had spent about an hour just trying to figure things out, because
I'm done a call.
That was such a big deal, because I would not have known, the last thing I want is give numbers that don't make sense, and I end up, putting myself in a hole. So I remember that was such a saving grace. I'm like, this is why I signed up with Sari, because this is that's the part I knew I didn't have. That's the part, that expertise, the knowledge that I would not have known, the things to think about when you're thinking about pricing a product for retail. That was really, has been really, that was such a, because when I needed you, that's where I was. Right. I was at that place where that was for me to know, okay, this will really be viable, because, looking based on the numbers, we can now have that agreement with the co-manufacturer with regards to moving forward with the partnership.
Yeah.
So that was a big deal.
It's a big deal. And then I remember our last call, and you feeling like, I don't really know what I should be doing, because you did come up against that big hurdle of importing. And I don't know, that is not an area I know anything about. So you have been very brave figuring it out yourself. And I'm giving you feedback, but I don't know.
And like I said, my naivety, and I'm glad I did, because it really now forced me to really just recognize, okay, I'm ready. Okay, I'm really in this now. Yeah. So I went on ahead, because I'd already found a supplier, and we were going to get ready. I tested the product. I really liked it. I was getting a lot of traction with it here, and went on ahead and put in my order. And then and I reached out to a fellow teapreneur too, who's also importing from different parts of Africa, and she's also selling tea. And she told me, "Oh, did you do this and this and this and this and this?" I'm like, "No." I was like supposed to. She's like, "You might want to get a custom broker. Don't do this on your own." So that was another hurdle, getting a customs broker. It took me almost a month to find a customs broker. I have paid my deposit for the tea. And then now I'm thinking, because I thought I just need to call and I'll get someone readily available, and didn't recognize the hurdles of brokers wanting to work with very small businesses. Yes. And that took almost a month to find somebody who was willing to work with me, being a first-time importer. And then that's when I found out about the requirements from FDA for product coming in for human consumption, and the requirements that the supplier has to meet and I have to meet as an importer to move forward with before before I can start the importation process.
I think we're going to hear themes today from all three businesses and women, that there's a lot of starting and stopping, and yes, a lot of challenges and unexpected, like, welcome to entrepreneurship. Like,
yes. And to be honest, this month has been rough. This month has been very rough. I think even from an emotional standpoint, I put in my order December 9th. This is our second to last day of February. I still don't have the product. I still don't know when it's going to get here. So I've been low. I feel a little emotional, but, I've been very low because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, am I doing the right thing? But it's also turned out to be a really good time for me to really prioritize the things I need to do. And I recognize this was a good time because my husband has been out of the country for the last 6 weeks. So I've been mom and dad to my 4 girls, plus working. And then we had this storm, and then now we've got, but just really using this time to really just prioritize and say, okay, fine. I need to make sure, I'm giving my daughters the time they need. Yeah. And, in a way, even I've kind of put things on hold. I guess I'm just kind of feeling I'm getting there, and I know I'm beginning to feel, okay, I'm beginning to go back to where this week was my first week to go in and do at least, okay, let me look at new labels. Let me look at packaging, where I'm beginning to feel, because I think there was so much going on at the same time, and recognizing I really need to I'm really learning to pace myself.
Yeah.
And not allow myself to get overwhelmed.
Everybody wants to get it going and get it as quick as possible. All of you guys are going to tell a similar story, and that it's taking longer.
I'm on the go, and to the point, sometimes it's easy to get tunnel visioned and forget that there are other priorities. So,
but I'm glad that we could talk, and we kind of gave you some things to work on in the meantime.
Yes.
And also say, like, you're right on track. Like, you are exactly where you're meant to be, and everything's happening at the pace it's meant to happen.
Yes.
And it's all going to be great. So it's so good to have that support and somebody.
Yes. And I really appreciate how you've been. And, that's one of the things that really attracted me to you. I think your persona came through even on Instagram, and I felt I could work with you because you were very personable, very approachable. And I felt I was in good hands with you. There was just something about your aura where I felt that you were someone I could really, you could relate. You could understand me easier. I don't know why. I mean, I looked at different people, but I was very drawn to your aura and persona. And I just felt, I think I can work with her. I feel like she can guide me in taking this business to the next level. So
thank you for that, Yvonne. It's so nice to hear that what I want to be putting out there is also being received that way.
Yes. I really felt that. So that's what really got me very interested in going into your social media handle and getting to read up on what you were doing. And I felt that even where you were, your pace was slow enough to where I would not be feeling overwhelmed, but I would be guided in a way that, I don't know, there was just something about your aura.
thank you so much for sharing that story and being vulnerable with us. And I'm going to come back to you in a minute, but I want to go and talk with Tania and Leonor. And you guys are a partnership and you own the Miami Food Company. And I want you guys to tell your story as well, but you started exploring importing foods from Latin America and then not being able to find what you want in Miami. And so now you partnered with your cousin, Tania with her cousin, Leonor, and you guys are business partners. So why don't you tell us your story and what your product is and kind of where you're starting out right now?
So I've been working in real estate management for a little bit over 20 years. And I've always dreamed of having my own business. It's something that I've always wanted to do. And, it's one of those things that you keep postponing and postponing. But so there was a point where I decided I have to do it now or I'm not going to do it ever. And I've always loved food businesses. I love going to the farmer's market. I always enjoy seeing like new products, all those small businesses and all, those ideas. So it was a perfect time to put the two together, my love for food and wanting to have my own business and be independent. So I started to kind of develop that idea. Also, I'm vegan and I love, as a Latina, I love rice and beans, right? So that's one of the complete proteins. If you put rice and beans together, that's a complete protein. So I eat that a lot. And it's hard to find a place in Miami or in South Florida to find a good gallo pinto. When you combine and you prepare the rice and beans, it's called gallo pinto. That's how we call it in Central America. And so since I had this idea, I kind of thought it was a great product to develop for wholesale in supermarkets. So it happened that at that time, Leonor moved back to South Florida, to Miami. And so I just talked to her about this great idea that I had in mind. And she decided to come along. She has been a great support because every time I come to her with an idea, she supports me and she goes like, yes, let's do this. And, so that's been great of having a business partner. And so we've been working on developing the idea, the label, the design and the packaging. We've been working a lot with Sari and doing a lot of research too. Before I started this idea, like you, I started doing a lot of research. And that's how I found Sari, because definitely I think that anything you start, any project, you have to really know what you're doing, right?
As much as humanly possible. Like there's the unknown, there's still a lot you don't know. But.
Yes. So especially the numbers, that was a key. When I saw her video, she did a presentation of, everything that is involved in the cost of goods sold. I said, oh yes, I have to. And I talked to Leonor and I said, I think she's great. And just like you, I look for different people, but I felt some connection with Sari. I thought she was great. She was approachable, knowledgeable, most importantly, right? And that's when we decided to start working with Sari. And right now we haven't launched the product yet. It's been a lot of preparing, let's say, the final product.
The recipe is something that we have been working on since last year?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's been the hardest.
Yes. But it's been fun. It's been hard, but it's been fun. Yes, it's been a learning experience. I mean,
right.
You think rice and beans together, you put them together,
yeah,
but it's not.
No.
It's not. And there are so many different types of beans that change the flavor. And like we were sharing with Sari, because you have to prepare the rice and the beans separately, and then you prepare them together. So we have to use red pepper. And so in order to use the
Red bell pepper,
in order to use it, but not leave it in the final product, it's very hard to have the taste, but not, the presence of the red pepper at the end product. So that was a whole ordeal.
Yeah, and you guys got creative and looked at lots of options. But I think that's something people don't anticipate in this. And I know Sara will probably speak to this too, but that scaling up from a home recipe that's, you can pull the bell pepper out with a spoon. It's not a big deal. But when we start scaling up and now we're doing 20-pound batches or 40-pound batches, like you had to find a way to do that would be efficient and not be super time consuming. So
yes,
it took a while, and I'm glad you guys went through that process and didn't try to hurry it up.
Yes.
And now you have a great solution, patent pending.
Yes, exactly.
We're not going to tell what the secret is on this, but you figured it out, and now you have a kitchen, right? So we're moving forward with the kitchen.
Yes. And we already registered with the FDA. We have permits. We have all the,
we have everything.
You're ready to go.
Yes.
And we worked on packaging
before, and then we started working on the recipe till today. I mean, till now, we're still on that recipe, working to perfect it.
Yes.
Scaling up is a lot more challenging than I think you realize.
Yes.
They think that should be the easy part, right? Because you've been making this for a long time, and that should be so easy. But it's harder.
Yeah, and the thing is that rice, it's not easy to when you mix it with the beans, it's not easy to make it loose.
Fluffy?
It's very hard to rice. It's hard to cook. Yes.
Yeah.
Little tiny grains.
Believe it or not, it is.
They can't stick together.
Yes.
And we cannot use parboiled rice because that just changes the whole flavor.
Yes.
So we have to use the normal rice, or not even the basmati rice, because that also has a flavor of its own.
Different thing, yeah.
And it would change the flavor of gallo pinto. And as the beans that we use, we were lucky to find that somebody in Miami was imported Nicaraguan beans. And that was a find of about 2 weeks ago. And that makes a big difference, because Central American beans versus Nicaraguan beans are not the same. Nicaraguan beans for gallo pinto, for the product, it gives it a different taste than just the normal red bean.
Yes.
So
that time,
we're lucky at that.
Yes, when we found that place where they sell this specific bean, and we did the gallo pinto that day, I remember it was we had the whole batch. We ate it all. I mean, it was so delicious.
We did.
Oh my God, it was so delicious.
And then you went and bought up all the beans in the store.
Oh, yes.
You're like, we gotta use these.
Yes.
So let's talk about your path to market, because that was something we talked a lot about. Do you want to go e-commerce? Do you want to go wholesale? Plus, you have this kind of additional layer of like wanting to appeal to the Latinx market, but then also wanting to be kind of a cool, hip, ethnic brand in more, mainstream conventional stores or Whole Foods, that kind of thing. So we talked a lot about sales channels, and I love what we decided on. And you guys are going a wholesale path is really the first thing that you're going to really pursue. And so tell me about kind of the decision to go with 2 different brand umbrellas and where you started there.
Yes. So in the beginning, like you said, I was thinking about a brand that was kind of cool, but gallo pinto is mostly like an ethnic Latin food. So I was trying to target 2 different markets, and it was really hard to capture that in one brand, one label. So we talked about it, and we decided that it was better to first go and target the Latin market and then create a different brand, even maybe a completely different name and different logo for the American market, more like the Whole Foods, because I think it's a great product for vegans, especially. I'm sure that a lot of people will enjoy it, will love it. And so now that when we decided with just targeting the Latin market, it was so much easier to work with the branding person, the artist. And she created a beautiful, beautiful logo that I can share with you. Yes,
gorgeous.
she was able to capture the whole idea, because it's kind of how would you call it? Like an indigenous person, very typical, it's beautiful. The logo, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Right?
It's modern enough, but it definitely speaks to your market, the Latin market.
Yes.
And we decided we're going to target that with Latin stores, places that, because you really want to capture this feeling of like, this is your home food. This is not expensive food. This is peasant. I don't know if that's the right word, but this is like everyday food.
Yeah.
And regarding, we also want to hit, your gasoline, those little stores, stop and go stores. I mean, we want to go there too and just offer it to them, because I know that there are a lot of things. I think it would move a lot in those places.
Yeah.
Not only in the Latin, community, but also all the little places, because it does move.
Yeah.
Yes.
People being able to pick up a taste of their home and their culture, and it's ready to eat. So that was the other thing we went with, ready to eat packaging.
It is ready to eat, just ready to be heated, either in the microwave or the stovetop.
Yeah, it's like a grab and go, and you can add anything to it. You can add avocado or meat for those who eat meat, or whatever you want to mix it with.
So packaging is probably the last hurdle we're just trying to figure out.
Yes.
And we were weighing options of like sustainability is really important, but then we're also starting on a small scale.
Mm-hmm.
And we just want to get it into stores. I want you guys to get cash flow going sooner than later. And then we decided then we'll go ahead and really investigate more sustainable options, but we just got to get something out there.
Yeah. And we also made the decision, since it's a rice and bean dish, to also sell the rice apart and also sell the fried bean apart. Mm-hmm. So we have three products that we will be offering right off the bat.
Yeah, later on we want to add, because every Latin American country, except maybe Argentina and I think Ecuador, they prepare the rice and the beans differently, different flavors. Like Puerto Rico, they have a way to do it, and maybe I'm talking too much about the future ideas.
Oh, yeah, well, I know you guys have all these great ideas, but I think part of what I help you with is like, okay, let's start here, and then we're going to layer on. Like, we're going to parking lot that. It's great. I want to do that. I want to see you guys do that. Mm-hmm. But let's just get that product on store shelves. We're going to get you guys a sell sheet, and then you have tools to go out and start approaching stores. And I love this kind of, we're going to start in this one area, these certain kind of stores, reach a certain kind of customer, and then we're going to keep layering on flavors as well as the second brand as well. So it's really fun. It's been so fun to see this
millennial brand
evolving and shaping up.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting, really fun, and with you, it's been great, easier.
Yeah, it's been,
we feel
you're very relatable, and you understand us, as women, small entrepreneurs. It's great.
Yeah. You're bootstrapping. You guys are all very typical of my target customer. Like, you're bootstrapping. You have full lives. You have jobs. You have kids. You guys are busy, and yet you have this strong why. And I was going to ask you that, Tania and Leonor, what is your why? Like, you have a full-time job, Tania, and I think Leonor, you just got a new job, right? So you're busy too, and you know, you guys are going to be in the kitchen making this. There's going to be some late nights. There's going to be weekends.
Early mornings.
We've been already like cooking really early on weekends.
Early in the mornings, yeah.
But it's like I enjoy it so much that I don't even feel tired. Sometimes I've spent Saturday and Sunday like cooking, washing dishes, and standing all day, and I love it. I love it. I don't know. I think I'm discovering also that passion, you know, in me. So yeah, I really think that's
Now that you mentioned that, you know, Sari and all of you, by profession, I'm an attorney from Nicaragua, and I'm working at a law firm as of this Tuesday. But when Tania came to me last year to propose this business venture, I thought, that is really good, because in Nicaragua, there is a gallo pinto guy selling it in the local supermarkets. And so I thought, okay, here in Miami, I have not seen gallo pinto. And then Tania said that she saw a video of this guy from Nicaragua at a food fair in Houston, and that he got like over, I don't know how many orders, you know, of gallo pinto. And so we thought, it's going to be successful, because I mean, the Latino population in the US is one of the fastest growing ethnic groups, if not the fastest. So I said to myself, I've never been into commerce or nothing like that. My sister is very good at that. But, you know, because I've always been a lawyer, I'm an office person. But then, you know, I said, okay. And, you know, I have liked it so much.
Yes.
That sort of like lit a little button in my brain. And I'm just keep, you know, thinking about all of the alternative food products that we can offer just with rice and beans.
Yes.
So I'm becoming also, you know, a lawyering is a side business, but now my main focus of my life is rice and beans.
You're a side hustle attorney.
And she's been great, because, you know, I come to, you know, we meet over the weekend, and sometimes we have breakfast together, and I come to her with, you know, this idea. I was thinking about this and that, and she goes, "Yes, let's do this." So she's been
or I say, how about if we do it like this, or maybe we can do this too, you know. So we bounce off each other, and we really and the other day I told her, you know, Tania, you and I get along real well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes, we do. And it's great to have someone to work with, you know, instead of doing it by yourself.
I like to think I provide a partnership for folks doing it on their own, because it can be so lonely. And it's neat that you guys have each other as well. And some people do come to me and they're like, should I get a business partner? And you got to find the right one, right? Like they have to a good fit for you too.
It's like a marriage.
It is like a marriage. Yeah. You are going in with somebody. But I love how, I'm sure all of you, and maybe think about this for a question in a little bit, but like, how has this journey changed you? And so let's come back to that, because I think being an entrepreneur does change us, right? Like all of your crap is going to come up when you start to go down this road. It's not what you know. It's not being in real estate. It's not being, you know, in healthcare or whatever your current role is. So getting uncomfortable means we get to grow. And I think each of you are changed in a great positive way by this. But thank you for sharing that. It was so fun. We'll come back to you in a minute, but I want to move on to Sara with SaraBell Soups. And Sara and I probably have been working together the longest. And probably a year now is about when you joined, I want to say. Is that right, Sara?
Yeah, just over a year, because it was right before kind of COVID quarantine situation happened.
Yep. And we talked a number of times, kind of making sure you were ready to do this, and you were all in, because that's super important. But welcome, Sara. And actually, let me pull up your sheet so I can have that in front of me. So Sara is a nurse who used her knowledge of nutrition to create a nutrient-dense soup for her favorite patient population, senior citizens. It's called SaraBell Soups, which I love that name. And it's really good, right? She uses healthy Mediterranean-based real food ingredients to pack in at least 20 grams of protein, 450 calories, and 50% of daily vitamin needs. And it tastes good. And that's the whole point, right?
Yes.
Is like not so tell us about your journey, why on earth you're doing this,
Sure.
and what your mission is.
Yeah. So, I mean, kind of the larger context is that I grew up in a house with a mother with a chronic illness. And, this was like 25 years ago or so that she was diagnosed with it. And instead of, taking a more conventional route with medication, she turned to food and diet to address her symptoms. And she's been doing it really successfully, for the past 20 some years. But essentially, I learned from a very young age, like the realness of the concept of food as medicine, just kind of ingrained in me. And then I started working, as a nurse and went into hospitals and was working. And I noticed how frequently people came in basically nutrient deficient. And the biggest population this seemed to affect was senior citizens. They have a number of barriers to cooking and eating. Oftentimes appetite is diminished, so they don't want to eat. Oftentimes it's just physically difficult to eat. Maybe they have like some like tremors or, not many teeth, things like that, or they don't have the energy to cook. And so this was like really clearly an acute problem that I was witnessing. And I also noticed then in the hospitals what patients were being given to kind of try to supplement their nutrition. I won't name names or brands, but I think we can all think of this nutritional kind of milkshake drink that people are given. And, I remember one day I kind of like turned the bottle around, looked at the ingredients, and I was like, oh my God, I would never give this to my mother, packed with like sugar, oils that are terrible for you, artificial flavorings, things like that. I'm like, I would never give this to my mother. And so I started kind of like looking around for what would be like a good kind of like all-in-one product, like a savory meal that still had the nutrition, but actually used healthy ingredients. And so I could, recommend it to my patients and their family members. And I couldn't find one. And so I thought, okay, well, I guess I'm going to make one. And so that's when I started working on it. And, just more and more, I see the need for it through my work. As a nurse, I'm not the only one who recognizes that these ingredients, that and the existing products aren't great. It's the patients themselves, it's their family members. And nutrition can be a real source of stress for caregivers, like getting their loved one to eat, making sure it's good for them. They want to care for them well. And I think that SaraBell Soups gives that to them, so it's, again, kind of using Mediterranean ingredients, legumes, nuts, healthy oils like avocado and olive oil, clean proteins, and then, at least 50% of the daily vitamins that the FDA recommends. And they taste good, and I would feel comfortable giving it to my mom.
Such a good story. And wow, your passion like really comes through. This is recorded, so you can use that on your website too.
And the name is like perfect. SaraBell Soup.
It feels so nurturing, the name. It's like,
oh, good. I went through like so many iterations of names, like it's hard to come up with a name, isn't it? And, you want something that, embodies what your product is. So like, it's like, oh, nourished, things that you think of healthy, but the problem is so many of those things are already taken, like the domain name is taken.
It happened to us.
Yes, exactly. So I was like, oh my gosh. And so SaraBell is actually a nickname that my mom had for me growing up. She's like, oh, SaraBell. So I thought, I'll just name it SaraBell and be done with it.
It feels like a hug. It really does. It's such a perfect name.
It was amazing how difficult it is to get a name. We
all have the perfect names now, so it does happen. It just takes a little bit of time. So, all right. So Sara, I'm sure you did a ton of research as well. You are also have kids. You have a full life.
Mm-hmm.
So you were doing research, and like, tell us about that process of saying, okay, I'm going to make the leap. And because a lot of people have great ideas, but most people don't actually do them.
Yeah. And, and this is kind of, and I bet a lot of food entrepreneurs can relate to this, is, even though I had like a secure job, a secure life, there was just like something else in me that felt like it needed to be tended to. And it's kind of like a fire that just kept on burning. And I did not know what it was. And I just kept on being open to like what that possibility would be. When I thought of this product, that fire was kind of satiated. And I was like, huh. And every time I tried to ignore it, tried to make it go away, that fire would come back. And it was only happy when I paid attention to it. And so I just kept following it. So it kind of feels like it's not a choice in some ways, but it feels wonderful. It's a great non-choice. I mean, it's a scary non-choice, but a great non-choice.
I remembered I even prayed against. I said, God, just take this away. It's just consuming me. But it's consuming me. And it was, it literally was something I just, and that's why I said I had to also learn to pace myself too, because
Sara knows something about that for sure.
So. Yes, absolutely.
So how did you find me? I don't know that you told me.
And I don't remember exactly, but I'm sure that it was, just during my hours and hours of researching just the general terms, how to start a food business, right? And, just like, oh my gosh. And there really are, there's like a dizzying array of regulations and rules. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like so in over my head. And I think you just like popped up on, one of those searches, and it was in so many ways just I guess it was a no-brainer, and like the same way, and Yvonne, you kind of spoke to this, that, I wouldn't trust a business person to do like nursing duties. Like I recognize that as a nurse, I didn't know how to do business. You know what I mean? And so I just knew that I needed, somebody to fill those gaps and provide the structure and guide me and lead me. And yeah, it was just a no-brainer.
Okay. And then COVID hit, and we were moving right along, and we were making some progress. And one of my missions is just to be really human and recognize that life happened. So you reached out and said, I need to pause. Totally understandable. And I'm sure this has taken a lot longer than you anticipated a year later.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you were really great. COVID struck, and then suddenly, the free time that I had, my kids were then both home with me, and they're now 3.5 and 1.5. And, that hit, and they were home with me. There was zero time for anything else. And you were just really great. But like, yes, it's okay. You can hit pause, focus on what you need to focus on, restart when you're ready. And that was really great.
So then we came back. And in the meantime, you had gotten, so I'm guessing this is probably some of your obstacle, but, well, I love what you wrote here, but certainly you had the obstacle of that you came back and you said, we always were struggling with like packaging, and do we want to do it frozen? And you said, I want to do it the retort bags, and you started doing all this research. And I was looking back at our text because you showed me that photo of the machine in your trunk of your car.
Yes.
You went all in. You're like, I'm going to go retort bag, and this is going to be awesome.
Yes. They seemed amazing. I was like, okay, this product is going to be shelf stable. The flexibility it sounded like they provided was like amazing, in terms of like cutting down shipping costs, in terms of obviously just shelf life, there were just seems to be so many benefits. And then, I just kept on like running into barrier after barrier after barrier with this. And I was really kind of pushing it, just like make it work. And then like, these machines, these expensive machines that I bought to do like the special, retort packaging were breaking down. And it's just like a disaster. I just kept pushing myself like, it's going to work. Like the shoe's going to fit, and eventually I was just like, you know what? Admit it. This shoe does not fit right now. And that's okay. And so I kind of abandoned that idea, went back to one of my more original ideas, which was to, just package it in, like deli containers, freeze them. There are some obstacles with that in terms of, again, greater shipping costs and, things like that. But I was like, this is what makes sense. And it also maintains the nutrients, that I wanted to get in there, which is, the crux of my whole product, right? And so it's really important for that to be maintained, and, doing it frozen in this way is what will help it do that at this stage. Maybe in the future, I'll figure out a way to do it, shelf stable, but that can come later.
And I think that gave you a renewed, motivation and passion again, where you were, and I think we have to go through that. We have to go through those periods of time. And I certainly did, like, why won't this fit? It should be like this.
Yeah.
And then you kind of step back and go, okay, what if this was easy? What if I return this $2,000 machine that I can't lift myself?
And my husband's like, you can just like see his wheels turning, like she is out of her mind, but he's being nice and he's like, okay, yeah, we can buy it, like.
Oh my gosh. And so you went down that path, and I love it that you were willing to be open and pivot and kind of, recognize like, whoa, this is a lot harder than it's already hard enough, but this is really hard.
Yes.
So I felt a sense of kind of relief and like, let's actually just get a product out there in this frozen format. We're going to kind of shrink our circle to come back to be local within your sort of sphere of influence to start. And then we can keep changing. We can add in, other methods, and we can figure things out as we go along.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
But it's so good to like you can't just keep doing this years and years without finally getting a product. Like we need to get you a product. So we're really close.
Yes. Yeah. We're so close. And, again, Yvonne kind of spoke to this, about like, kind of wanting to like get everything perfect before starting and how you can't do that. And I do kind of suffer from the disease of perfectionism, so I do want everything to be ready and perfect and presentable and, but oftentimes that's just a procrastination technique, I think. I think that, it is kind of part of who some people are, and that's part of it. But also I do think there's kind of like a psychological procrastination to it. And it's just like, you got to like forge forward, in spite of the, potential flaws, because there's always going to be some, right?
We're going to discover, even me, like I can't lay out every single potential issue along the way, but I got your back, and we're going to figure it out, and we'll find the next solution. And, but yeah, talk to me about I asked what your biggest obstacle challenge was, and you talked about your fears. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Obviously in starting business, there are ups and downs and everything, but I really do feel like my biggest barrier has been the fears that starting this business has made me confront, fear of failure, money worries, even identity issues, things like that. These are all things that kind of presented themselves to me as I was going through this process. And so you just kind of have to get comfortable. I've had to get comfortable acknowledging these fears and basically being brave. Like you say, Sari, if you can do scary things, you can do hard things. And you're just kind of like trusting yourself, making that leap. You don't know exactly what's on the other side when you're walking into this unknown. But there's something exhilarating about that too. And, kind of like what you're saying, like when you feel like this is part of you, it just feels like you have to evolve. And so it kind of feels like a partnership in some ways. Like the business has its own personality. I have my own, and we're kind of walking together into this path and into this market.
Oh my gosh. I literally have chills right now. Because it is. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur too. I'm walking with fear all the time. You guys are doing it, and it does change you, and I think it makes you a better person. Like even if you shelve this right now, all of you, you're like, all right, we're done. Like you will have become a better person because of this process. And none of you are. And you're all going to go on to have amazing, amazing businesses. But thank you for sharing that, Sara. That's, I know something that everyone can relate to. I always say, well, it's not my quote, but you commit and then you find courage, right? Because committing's going all in. And frankly, I feel like when you join a program like through Business Success, you're sort of like, oh, I'm committing because now there's money on the line. And then I'm going to show up with courage and do the hard work, do the hard stuff.
Some pressure.
Not everybody does that, but I do think that putting some money on the line forces your hand.
That's true.
You want to get into action, put some money down on it. That's for sure. Okay, so if I want to ask that question about if you could offer one sentence of advice or a piece of advice, so I'll start back with you, Yvonne. What would you recommend, or what is your piece of advice for your early stage food entrepreneurs?
For me, I would just say, just start. Just start. I mean, just like everybody has iterated, Sara, too, you just start. I mean, and I just started because I think that helped me overcome that fear of wanting everything to be perfect. And along the way, it's really allowed me to meet different people, network, and because of that, learned so much and figured things that I hadn't even thought about as I progressed forward. But I think it was just starting helped me really. Now, once I started, I was committed. There was money. I'd already invested some money into the business. And I was like, I don't want this money to just go into waste. And the time I've taken to really do my research, I just was like, I'm just going to start. If it fails, it fails because I started, but not because I'm thinking, oh, what if? I'll just start.
Otherwise, you're just failing ahead of time, right? If you never start. So I love it that you just started a little before you're ready. Yes. And people should go back and listen to the B- 80% rule, because I'm a recovering perfectionist myself. That's my motto with everyone. B- work. We're getting it out the door, and I'm going to make it better. So just start. I love it. And Yvonne, share your website and your social handles where people can find this amazing purple tea.
Thank you so much. So our website is www.leafberri.com, and the berry is just Berri. Like I say, it was just so difficult to get a name. I had to change that Y to an I. Social media handle on Facebook is I Love Purple Tea, and on Instagram is
So you're in Instagram? I'm going to follow you. Yeah.
Yes, everyone should follow each other.
Yeah,
sure.
So that would be great. That things we can always, now that I know there's a name to a phrase, it's always easy to, ask questions, where are you? And even just offering encouragement and support,
Yes.
and, when you have a question, you never know, I might have an answer for it, know?
Are you guys you should all be in the Facebook group too for food business.
Yes.
So, yeah, if you're not, go join that. We want you in there. We can cheer you on. All right. I know Tania and Leonor, the Miami Food Company is not officially yet selling product, but do you have your website and social media?
No, not yet. We just started working on Shopify, the link that you sent me. So we don't have it yet. They're still,
it's a work in progress.
Yes.
That's all right. We'll put them up. We'll put them in the show notes when they're live for sure. And so people can find.
Yeah, the Miami Food Company is the name of the company, but we created a brand for the Gallo Pinto. So we'll share it later.
I actually like that name, Miami Food Company. It just sounds.
It just Miami, Yeah.
So big, yeah.
Okay. I know. I couldn't believe it was available.
Yeah, I love it.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. And when I started with the idea, I started playing with names and logos, and I went to canvas.com, and all of a sudden, I don't know how it came out. I saw like a coffee shop logo, and boom, that idea came to my mind, and I said, oh, I love it. And when I presented it to Maria Leonor, she said, oh my God, I love that name. So we kept it.
So what's between the two of you, what is your piece of advice for people just starting out?
Well, I would say get a consultant, and it's not because you're here, but yeah, no, you didn't tell me to say that, but I honestly, because as much as you can research online, not everything is there. So always getting a consultant to know what you're doing.
To guide you. Yeah.
Especially if you don't know the industry.
Right.
It's definitely a key to avoid making mistakes and, expensive mistakes. So yes, definitely having a consultant, a good consultant. Yes.
And the two words that I think come to my mind is patience, because success does not happen overnight, and perseverance. You persevere until you reach your objective. So those are two words that kind of like identify us. Yes. Because it has been a long process with COVID along the way, and then the name, the label, and then the recipe, and now we're just at this point where we're really looking into operating in the not too near future.
Yeah, you guys are really close. You're really close.
We're getting close.
Fun. I can't wait. I'm going to have you on the back wall here.
Yes.
All my products. There to go. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we need to share our labels.
Yeah, that would be a great idea.
Sara, what about you? What's your piece of advice for folks?
I mean, it's a theme, right? Keep on keeping on. Give yourself grace. But keep on keeping on.
Determination and never giving up. Mm-hmm. You guys are all really committed. I mean, I can feel it. It's like you're not going to give up. We're going to figure this out. Yeah.
And in so large part because of you, Sari. I mean, seriously, giving the structure and the reassurance, to build these businesses. I would have so much less confidence, and it would take 10 years to get this, launched. If it weren't for you, walking with us.
And I think I'll also say that, just like Tania and Leonor have said, I think now when I look back, I wish I had thought about having someone to help me, like you say, get a consultant or, someone in the field, because I think I would have saved a lot of time too, because there would have been many things that I probably have been able to get more direction and to think about the things I'm thinking you're thinking about 2 years later, which probably I could have saved some time and money and be more cost effective. So I think when I look back, and I'm not, I'm of course not downing what I did, because that was also a journey, because I've learned a lot. But now, if I was to advise somebody who is thinking of an idea, I would definitely recommend, get a consultant, because they will also probably minimize the steps you have to take that save you time and money too. Because they make you think about some things, because a lot of my things, I'll think about ideas, run them also by my husband. But if someone was already in that space, they'll be help you think about things that you would normally not think, because that's not an area of expertise for you. So
I heard a great quote that said, if knowledge is power, then knowing what you don't know is wisdom. So you guys are all very wise. And Sara, I know we don't have the website up yet, but SaraBellSoups.com.
So it's Sara, SaraBell.com. Okay. SaraBell. That's a real neat name.
Correct. Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's very catchy. It's very,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I just want to thank all of you so much for joining me today, sharing your story, sharing, walking into the fear, doing the hard things, becoming better women and entrepreneurs. I just want to thank you all so much. If you have any final words or anything you want to say right at the end, go ahead. But thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Keep on.
Yeah, keep on going. With passion.
With passion. Carry on with passion.
Well, really, thank you. Time is a great gift. And like I said at the beginning, I know you all are very, very busy. So I really appreciate you taking this time and just sharing your story with all of us. So
thank you.
Thank you. It's been great.
It's been great. Yeah.
Wow. That was just amazing. What an amazing gift that these women gave all of us, sharing their journey. These conversations are so inspiring, and I would love to keep having them with clients inside Food Business Success. And so that may be you someday. I hope to see you in there. I will put all of the links for the brands that we talked about inside the show notes for Food Business Success. Go head over to the private Facebook group and let's continue the conversation over there. Please join us in a community. It's so, so important that you do build community around you. This is the hardest thing you will ever do. So get over there if you're not already a part of that group. All right, until next time, have an amazing week. Are you ready to start that delicious idea that you make in your home kitchen or grow your existing packaged food business and take it to the next level? The most successful food business entrepreneurs have support, guidance, focus, and accountability to help them make it happen quickly without wasting time or money. Plus, I think starting your packaged food business should actually be fun. Food Business Success is your secret ingredient to creating your food business dream. Please don't go this alone. Check out the private free Food Business Success Facebook group to connect with other foodpreneurs, get your questions answered quickly, share your wins, and receive special training and tools I only share inside the private community. Just search for Food Business Success on Facebook or get the link in the show notes. Curious about how Food Business Success can help you? Head over to foodbizsuccess.com and fill out the application to see if you're a great fit for the program. Together, let's make your food business dream a reality.